Some foods just remind you of a nice warm hug from your granny. For me, that's southern fried cabbage. So come in the kitchen with me today and let's fry some cabbage. Here we have a small cabbage that I picked up from the grocery store for 69 cents. And although we are trying to eat as much as we can from what we already have in the house, it is nice sometimes to just switch things up and have some fresh vegetables. And at 69 cents, this is a deal I could not pass up. You want to pull off the outer leaves, and then we're going to cut this baby up. First here, I just cut the stalk off the bottom part of the cabbage. And I'm going to grab a strainer because as I chop, I'm just going to drop it straight into the strainer. So from growing cabbage in my own garden, I know that little bugs and things can get in between those tightly packed leaves. So first we cut the core out, and then we're going to chop those leaves up, put them in the strainer, in the colander, and rinse thoroughly. Typically, I would chop the cabbage and let it sit in a big bowl with a little bit of salt, just so that I can ensure that there's water and salt mixture getting in between all of those leaves. I don't want any bugs or anything floating around in my food. And then after I let it sit for a little while, I'll go ahead and thoroughly rinse off the cabbage. And we're just going to chop these leaves up into bite-sized pieces. They don't have to be too tiny. The smaller you make them, the faster they'll cook. And we like to have just a little bite to our cabbage. We don't want it mushy, but we don't want it hard because we're not making coleslaw here. Now we're going to take this over to the sink to get it all cleaned up. And as you can see here, I am scraping up every little bit of cabbage. Waste not, want not. We're going to take this over to the sink and get it cleaned up. And we're just going to rinse thoroughly with cold water. Again, if you'd like to soak it for a minute or two in some lightly salted water, that's fine too. Just make sure you rinse it thoroughly. Next, we're going to chop up this onion. Now we're just going to set that to the side. And I have all my ingredients on this little tray. Butter. A little bit of avocado oil. Now, my family will typically use bacon grease to season as a seasoning or flavoring to the cabbage, but my husband does not eat pork. So I found this broth base ham flavored seasoning, and it tastes pretty good. It is vegan, and I do not, because it's not real ham, so I do not use a lot of it because it's pretty much chemicals, but it does taste really good. So we'll use that. Lawry seasoned salt, black pepper, a little granulated onion, and granulated garlic. They always go hand in hand in my brain. And sugar, a little bit of bouillon. And two things are missing here that I will show later in the video. In lieu of the butter, sometimes I do use beef tallow or ghee. Now here I am using my cast iron skillet. I'll discuss more about the reason why later, versus a stainless steel skillet. And I just have it heating over medium heat. Now we got this butter blend from the food pantry, and because I have it, I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of that. I did later also use a little bit of butter and beef tallow. I pretty much can't not use beef tallow with my cabbage. So just going to get everything organized and allow that pan to heat up. Now I do like to have all of my ingredients ready to go. So I do take the time while the pan is heating up to open everything, so I can just grab things quickly as I'm going through. You'll see why in a second. Just going to Add a little avocado oil to the pan and a little bit of that butter blend. Now, the reason why I'm using cast iron instead of stainless steel is because I like to get a good caramelization on a little bit of my cabbage. There's something about that concentrated flavor on that on the caramelized pieces that brings a little extra something, a little extra sweetness to the cabbage. I don't get that same reaction in a stainless steel skillet. But now we're just going to start adding our cabbage to the pan. I'm just pulling some of the leaves apart here. Let me say that I am a mom, I am a wife, I am not a chef. Keep in mind, everybody does things differently. This is how I do my cabbage, the way I do it to get the flavor that I like. So I layer my flavors. So cabbage, a little bit of onion, black pepper to taste, Lawry's to taste, onion powder, garlic powder, a little bit of slap your mama, chicken bouillon, a tiny bit of that ham flavor, a little sugar, and I also use some Chef Paul Prudhomme's no salt seasoning. And again, this recipe is a no recipe because there really isn't a recipe. There's a reason why I call this a no recipe. There are some things that you just got to do to taste. This is one of those recipes. So I'm showing you the ingredients that I use, but the amounts will vary. Sometimes I get some cabbage that's a little bit sweeter than other times. The cabbage may be larger this week than next week. So you got to kind of eyeball it and again, go by taste. Now we're just going to repeat the process with layering the cabbage, onion, flavorings until all the cabbage is used up. And I hope you notice throughout this video, it will be sped up a little bit, but that first and second layer is the only time I put the ham seasoning, the ham flavoring and the chicken bouillon on. The rest of it, I don't. The rest of the layers, I don't. And it also, I hope you notice that I only use a little bit, like a quarter of a teaspoon of that ham flavoring on each layer. Now here I'm just showing you my beef tallow, but the reason why I did not use beef tallow and ghee for this is that not everybody has that available to them, but most people will have some type of butter, margarine, or oil in their home, like an if not avocado, maybe a vegetable canola, something like that. So now here we go in with the third layer of cabbage and onion. Hitting it one more time with that pepper. It may look like we are adding a lot of pepper, but cabbage is mostly water. So once it breaks down, it really isn't a lot. Some people like it a little spicier. You might choose to add some pepper flakes. That's good too. And here's some more Lawry's, onion powder, garlic powder, no salt seasoning. It's the thing's called magic seasoning from Chef Paul Prudhomme. And this is the final layer of cabbage. Now it looks like a lot, but just like collard greens, cabbage cooks down. It's not as bad as spinach, but it does cook down, I promise you. I'm just adding a little bit of sugar on top. Here I'm just going to add a little bit of tallow because I couldn't help myself. Probably the equivalent of about a tablespoon. And that's it. I will not be adding any water to this because cabbage is mostly water. So it will cook down and make its own broth. We are going to cover this and drop the temperature to medium, medium low, and give it time to cook. And when we pop this lid on, we're going to have to push it down some to get secure, but just let it go, let it do its thing, and it will start to cook down. The steam will rise up and begin to slowly cook all that cabbage through. I'm going to let it sit here for a few minutes, come back, grab the tongs, and start flipping it over. Just bringing the cabbage that's on the bottom to the top. As you can see, as time goes, the cabbage is getting softer, it's wilting a bit. Take a look, see at the corner there. The cabbage has made its own liquid. Now for me, this is not quite done. Again, that cabbage that was on the top needs to come down to the bottom. So I'm just going to continue to turn it over, make sure I get all of that cabbage that was on the bottom to the top. I don't want anything to burn. I like caramelization. I don't like burnt. So this cabbage is almost there. Just needs a few more minutes. Now here, I'm turning the temperature down even a little lower. And I'm going to taste to see if I need to add any other seasoning. It's got a little bite to it. I'm just going to add a little bit of Lawry's because that's what I feel it needs at this time. And a tad bit more sugar. We're going to turn that over to mix everything up. We're going to let this cook for about 5 more minutes and have my husband taste it. And if he says it's good, then we're good. Y'all, it's 5 minutes later and we have cabbage. So good. Savory and sweet. This came out perfect. Just enough bite. Just enough of that soft cabbage. Sweet and savory. Perfection. Please try this dish. Let me know how it worked out for you. Until next time, happy cooking, better eating, and God's blessings. Bye.